take SOTA, as all of us are in the music industry major are taking SOTA, and it is a requirement. So we just want to see your backstory.
So you answered to go out to SOTA. I majored in music industry and minored in PR. I did not finish PR because, which I'll touch base on later, but I did a few internships in PR and was like, this shit is not for me. But that's the beauty of interning, because then you realize what does and doesn't work for you. Or, you know, I thought I wanted to do this, but I really realized I don't, and it was not what I expected. So I did minor in it, and I did actually really great. It was one of my favorite classes, but to be in it is different than the books. So, yeah.
You mentioned internships. What specific internships did you take during your time here?
So the first internship that I had was at a radio station in San Francisco, KMEL, which is a very big station, and they break up a lot of artists. So it just so happened to work out for me because I'm from San Francisco, so whenever they needed me to do anything, I was just there. So I did street team in the summertime, and it was like super early morning, like 5 a.m. And then I would go to summer school right after that, and then go to regular work, and I was just like burnt out every day. But it was KMEL. That was my first internship for being in this program.
Did you do any other internships, or was it just the during your time here?
Oh, no. I did a few internships. So the second internship was in LA at BET in the PR department. And that's when we were doing like hard press releases. So we literally had to print them out, put them together, put them in folders, mail them out every day, and then I would do like big tent poles with them. So BET Awards and Hip Hop Awards and all these major award shows. So we had to put together all these press releases and do like press rooms, and it was just like a shit show. And I was like, I don't want to do this. My hands are getting cut up every day, and I have to do all these things. This is not for me. But I did learn to pitch, because I also had to pitch for like television shows that they had. So I had to write a lot of pitch things to, you know, outlets for them to pick it up. So I did learn how to do that, which was great. I still tell people about it too, like inverted pyramids is what they called it. And I was like, okay, that actually taught me a lot about writing and how to like start with really what you want them to know and then work your way down as far as information. So that did help, but I just knew I didn't want to do it because of that program. And then my next internship was still at BET, but it was in the music department in New York. So that's where I kind of got like in the game. And that was under the president's assistant. And I worked directly under her, and it was a lot of pressure also, because you can imagine working for the assistant of the president, they expect so much. But the good thing was, since I made like, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't say good friends and stuff, but I made out well because I did such a good job. They invited me to every single thing, from Spring Bling to, again, Hip Hop Awards to Celebration of Gospel. So every tempo that they had, I was there. I was a part of it, which kind of started making me stick within that company because I was doing so much for anybody that needed help. So, for free. It was definitely before internships were paid. So it was just figuring out what to do. And I lived in New York with people I didn't even know. It was really, really weird. We had to share. That's a whole other story. But yeah, and that was the last internship that I had.
I just wanted to like ask actually, because BET is such, because we also in our research we found out you did the Music Matters thing. We want to see if you faced any like challenges within your internships, like, and how you overcome those things.
Yeah, it was a lot of challenges, like especially working with some people and they think like, because they're your superiors, they could talk to you any kind of way, or, you know, the competition from other interns, and, you know, dealing with those things. But honestly, I feel like if you just keep your head down and do your job and do the best that you can and be nice to everyone, that's all that really matters. Because I always say this, like, the assistants are the gatekeepers to who you really want to talk to. So why would you be rude to them? They're the ones that could be like, no, you're not going to get this meeting or this call that you want because you're being rude. And not only that, but they could be the next people on the next level really, really soon. So you're talking to them crazy, but they could be your boss tomorrow. So just being nice to people and also just keeping your head down and doing your job and doing the best at it. And what I've learned, even with like the interns that I have now, is they want to run before they crawl. And it's like, master what you're supposed to master before you think you can do that. Like, yeah, you have a good ear, and I respect that. Thank you for bringing this talent, but you can't coordinate my sessions the way I need you to coordinate them. You can't answer emails in a timely manner. So why do I need to hire you? You can't master this right now. So, sorry, I went last.
That's
but,
fair. We love that.
Thank you.
But those are like some of the challenges that I did.
Yeah. And you know, internships are supposed to be a time of like learning and getting to know like what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then sometimes you even feel like you might need like a guiding light to help you get through that. Did you have any mentors during your time doing internships? And who were some of those people, and like what advice did they give you that helped you specifically?
I did have a lot of mentors, but I was just telling Joe this, I'm very much so in real life an introverted person, so I'm always in my head. But my job causes me to come and be extrovert. Like, it consists of me networking and talking and being nice and, you know, connecting dots and figure out what works and what doesn't work. But I would say Antoinetta, she's one of the people that hired me over at BET, so she was someone that I really like would go to for help. And then it was Janine McLean, who is one of the heads of MBK. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with what MBK is, but MBK did Alicia Keys, did her, Tone Stiff, Maida, and all these other people. Like, I worked under them for a long time. Not under them, but like, I did a lot of stuff with them while I was at BET. So I would go have meetings with her regularly and just get advice from her all the time. So it was those two people. Oh, and one other guy, actually, I lied. Kelly G, who was the person who gave me a shot at the BET Music Matters program, and I would just talk to him about a lot of stuff too.
And looking back at like your time starting out in internships, what are some things you wish you knew earlier that might have made you feel a little bit more like wow, how did I not like know this before? Like, what are some things that you wish you knew earlier that would have made your time during the internships maybe a little easier? Or
utilizing my network a little bit better, because I didn't realize how much stuff I touched and how many things I did within those internships that I could have utilized those networks. So I think I just wasn't utilizing my resources at the time the way I should have, the way I do now. And at that time, you know, you're just young, you're just trying to like, oh, a contact, but knowing how to utilize those contacts go a long way. And then also knowing how to talk to those contacts, because you can't reach out to people always wanting things and needing things. You have to be of service. Hey, what can I do for you? Not what can you do for me? Not, hey, can you plug me with this person? Hey, can you give me a meeting with this guy? Hey, I want to meet such and such. What can I do for you? You need help with what? Let me be that person for you. I have no problem with that. And just reaching out in that capacity, because everybody always wants, but no one ever really gives. So when they hear you trying to give, they want to help. So,
gotta give back.
Yeah.
Once you put out more, a lot of people always reach out and
always
give you back the same.
Always.
And then after your internships, you went straight into the workforce. Did you take a break? What was that? If you did take a break, like what was the transition from like being a student at Chico State to then like getting into the actual like workforce?
Yeah.
Like how was that for you?
So a lot of people don't know this, but it's fine with me sharing. But the day after I graduated, my father passed away. So because of that, I took a big break because I had to get my family life together. So I was doing like, it was a place called Cable Link. So I would just like help people with their cable. So people would go connect their cable and I would be like the dispatcher with the cable guy and making sure I hit the boxes and make sure everything was good. And then I ended up getting back into it, which honestly, I didn't even really want to get back into the music industry. I was just like, this is crazy. I'm probably not gonna make it anyway. And it's a crazy career to have, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna focus on my family. But they just kept calling me to come back. And at that point I realized like, no, I'm supposed to be in this industry because they keep calling me. But that's why I took the break. It was more because of a family thing versus like not being able to get into the workforce. I just needed time, a beat for me.
Right, yeah. And you said that they were calling you. Who, so you didn't have, after graduation, you didn't like specifically apply, they reached out to you.
Correct.
And who was that for you?
So the same person I interned for at BET, the assistant, her, Antoinetta. And the reason,
that's how you know you're good.
and the reason she called me was because she was leaving the position as his assistant and they needed an interim assistant for him until he found his permanent assistant, which was fine by me. So I assisted him for like a year interimly. And you know, it taught me a lot. there are some things I look back and I'm like, damn, I fucked up real bad, or I could have did so much better at that when I was doing that job. But again, it's a learning experience, and I'm just happy to have it. But it literally launched me to the next position that I had.
Yeah, so then you went on to BET Music Matters.
No, I actually went on to do talent coordinating for 106 & Park. And I did that for, I want to say, a year and a half, 2 years. And that was fun too. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with 106 & Park. It's an old show, it was an old countdown that was like it was very much so a big deal at that time. So I did talent coordinating for them, and then I went over to Music Matters. But what a lot of people don't know is, at that time, I also stopped working again. And I was like, I'm good, I'm done with this shit yet again. And they called me back and was like, no, you need to take this job. I'm like, I'm not doing that job, I don't want to do it. And they were just like, no, you really need to take this job, you'll be great at it. And I'm like, I don't think so. And then they ended up calling Antoinetta to convince me to go take the job. And I was like, fine, I'll take the job.
So you told us you quit twice, and they still called you back.
Yeah, and then I ended up taking the gig, and it was like the best thing I could have done, to be honest with you, because BET is definitely where I got my roots, but Music Matters is where I got my like heart, as far as like the industry and the majority of my contacts and everything else. So that program in itself was just a phenomenal thing, and it was like a catapult for my career.
It's so crazy to me because you said you're from the Bay, so it's like, what was it like to just move your whole life to New York for that long, man?
Well, so being from San Francisco is a little different because it's very much so a city life. So moving to New York was very easy for me because we have an amazing transit system. We move really fast anyway, and that was fine. What I didn't like was the cold. So the snow, I was like, oh, and people choose to live in this? Oh, no. So every single year, I was like, I'm leaving, and then summer would hit, and I'm like, I'm staying. Because New York in the summer is unmatched. If you have not been there in the summertime, it is like one of the best cities ever. And it's because people are like, freedom. Like, they've been in the house all winter, it's cold, so they're finally outside, but it's so much fun. So I tell a lot of people, I became a woman in New York. I learned who I was in New York, and I just figured out life in New York. So the transition was fine for me. It was more so the weather that was like blowing me every year. But it was cool for the most part.
Yeah, so would you say that working directly with talent as a talent coordinator is what sparked your interest in working as an A&R?
No, I always knew I was going to be an A&R. Always. I've always knew I was going to work in music, and I always knew, well, initially I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. It has to be in music. But then later on, I'm like, A&R. I just think I want to be the person that kind of selects these songs and helps make the music and be a part of it, because I know I can pick better songs than this stuff that's coming out right now. So I didn't know how I was going to get there, and it just kind of came, but I always knew that I was going to eventually be an A&R.
I kind of want to ask this just because we found out you did do a meeting with Vanessa Media, and I do work with Alexi actually, and she wanted me to ask, like, how is A&R different now from in the past? Because she was talking to me how kind of the roles are slightly changing a little bit. Like, there's like A&R admin roles, A&R admin like assistant roles, and everything like that.
Well, A&R admin is different because they're more so like doing the paperwork for the songs. So like, you have to get this cleared. You have to make sure that the producers are getting paid. You have to make sure the credits are right. That's the admin side of things. As an A&R proper, it's making sure the sessions are with the right people. It's making sure that, I always say, like, my job is big matchmaking, because I'm not going to put this person in who has a horrible personality with someone who's very timid, because they're not going to work. This person is going to do the majority of the work and overpower this person. So it's knowing who your clients are, who the roster is, and knowing the music. A lot of the A&Rs now, some of them don't even listen. Like, you could send them something and they're just like, cool, I'm too busy to listen. But I pride myself on, like, I'm listening to everything, because you just don't know what you find, when you're going to find it, or how you're going to find it. So I might get like an email that I really don't want to respond to, but I'm going to listen to it. Okay, no, at least I give it a chance. And that's it. But at least I gave it a chance. You know what I mean? There's some people that just blow people off and don't even respond, don't even listen, don't do anything. But that's the difference between the admin and like the true A&R. It's the setting up of the sessions, making sure albums come out on time, making sure you pitch songs. So I'm more on the publishing side, which is different than the label side. It's way different. But we could get into that whenever you ask that question, because I know that's coming up. But that's the difference between admin and regular A&R.
Backtracking a little bit to your time at BET for the Music Matters grant. You did a lot of work with live events. You did like South by Southwest and a number of other events. How hands-on were you with live events, and did you have experience prior to before doing that role?
So so my role for that, to answer that question, is I booked the talent. So I was booking it and making sure they had their itineraries, they came on time. The production people had everything they needed, the band had everything they needed, and basically doing that aspect of it. Did I have experience prior to that? My experience prior to that, I would say it all ties in, because again, doing the Hip Hop Awards, BET Awards, and doing those major tempos as an intern helped kind of guide me to understand how the production works. And then being a talent coordinator helped me be guided to understand how to book the talent and what it is that they need and how to have those conversations. So everything kind of just added up to what it needed to be. And then I started doing we started with smaller showcases at first, so we did monthly showcases at SOBs. So once you have done those small showcases, you can do big stages. It's just at that point, you're kind of multiplying it to a bigger stage. So again, it was the small things that added up. I kind of crawled before I ran, and that's how I got there.
And when you were booking talent, you were in charge of artist selection as well. We saw on your Instagram that you've booked artists like Kendrick, you've booked artists like J. Cole, Jasmine Sullivan. This was during a time when, I think it was before Kendrick even was known mainstream. So if you were in charge of artist selection, like what made you hear the artist and then be like, oh, you want them specifically for the event? Like what drew you to
What do
them?
you look for specifically for why you put them?
So for that event, it just depends on what the stage is, right? So for an A3C stage, it's a hip hop stage. So I'm bringing more hip hop. I'm not going to bring Jasmine Sullivan or Miguel to that stage. But Kendrick makes sense, Big Sean makes sense, and a lot of up and coming people make sense. So you just have to understand the crowd, that's one. And two, I wasn't the only one that did the selection. It was me, my supervisor, and then one other person who's my competitor now, actually. But his name is Omar Grant. And all three of us were the ones who did the selection together. I was just more so the one going after them. As far as the Kendrick thing is concerned, we heard his Section 80 project, and we thought this shit was crazy. So we reached out. I reached out to Dave Free, who was his manager, and we invited him to BET, and we walked him through the door, or I walked him through the door, and we had the conversation to partner with him. So if you guys aren't familiar with Music Matters campaign, it is basically a marketing partnership for up and coming talent, where we kind of give the stamp of approval, like these people got next. They are going to be the next it people, and we were right for most of them. Again, Kendrick, Miguel, Jasmine Sullivan, her, who was Gabby at the time, Gabby Wilson, Big Sean, like all these names. So we were their marketing partners. So I was on tour with Kendrick before he even had Good Kid, Mad City, because we were, again, trying to figure out how we can push his career forward. And it was a lot of things that people don't even know, like behind the scenes, where I used to have to beg the president to let him walk a red carpet, or beg the president to let him present this award. You know what I mean? So it's just those little things. But we figured it out.
I mean, I'm sure he doesn't have that problem now.
Definitely.
So how does that role during your time there compare to now working as an A&R exec?
So we could rewind it a little bit, and the reason why we should rewind it is because I didn't go straight from BET to Universal. I went from BET to a PRO, which is ASCAP. So when I got to ASCAP, and the reason and how I even got that role was because I did a partnership with ASCAP for a South by Southwest show when I was with BET, and we brought out Kendrick, Pharrell, T.I., and a few other people. That's how it was a great stage that we did. And because we did that great stage, I had a good relationship with ASCAP. When I left BET to come to LA, I didn't have a job. I just came to LA. And because of that great relationship that I had with ASCAP prior, and this is again why you should always be nice to just people, period, they offered me the job. When I was asking, like, do you know anyone hiring? They're like, actually, we have a job opening. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And got the job. And it's funny, and I've been saying this story all day, and I'm gonna say it again, Joe, so I'm sorry. But Joe had us do things in our class like select different parts of the music industry and teach it to our classmates. And my selection was PROs. So I had to present to the class about ASCAP and what it is that they did, BMI, CSAC, and just how they collect royalties and everything else. And I thought it was just like, okay, so cool. So when I ended up working there, it was the funniest thing ever because I had already known what they'd done because I taught the damn class. And it was just like, how ironic is it that I'm here? But going from a artist forward place like BET to a behind the scenes place like ASCAP, and I say behind the scenes because they are more supportive. I would say supportive, but we are more hands-on with writers and producers, which is completely different than artists. And you know, you could like that song again. I could like that Toni Braxton song, but who wrote and produced it? Because they're the true masterminds behind that song. Toni Braxton, yes, she used her voice. It was an amazing voice, but she did not write it. She did not produce it. She did not put everything together. So my job now consisted of understanding everyone behind the scenes of music. And it was very different because I was very used to, again, being artist forward, talking to the talent directly and making their face the forefront of everything that we were doing at the time. So working at that aspect was an adjustment, but it was a great adjustment because then I started understanding how music really worked and I started understanding the money behind music too. And then next step was managing writers and producers, which is something that I never wanted to do. I was like, I'm not doing that shit ever in life. And of course, it was just like, yes, you are. And God has a funny way of saying, you're gonna end up doing these things. And I ended up doing it. And then from there, I ended up being at Universal. And it was also because of a relationship where someone recommended me for the job, and that's how I got the job. And even with publishing, I always said I wasn't gonna do it either, and here I am.
It's like a trend going on. It's like you
Every
be nice to
every
people,
time.
you get a job.
Yeah.
Listen, start doing that.
Listen, I got plenty stories about that. I'm telling you. Even I did a show at MegaFest, and this guy literally was like backstage. I ended up finding a way backstage. That's a long story in itself. But I was backstage, and this guy just jumps in front of me, and he goes, "Cristina Chavez," and I'm like, "Yeah, hey." And he's like, "Oh my God, you were so nice to me during the Kendrick tour. How can I help you? Whatever it is that you need." And I'm like, I'm just trying to go watch the show. Come follow me. Put me right in front stage, the front row, watching it, and I'm like, this is phenomenal. But again, if he walked past me today, I wouldn't point him. I could never point him out. I don't know him from a can of paint. But me being nice to him is how I ended up being in the front row. So you just don't know.
Again, you be nice, you get a job in front row tickets to get it back.
So after your time at ASCAP, you said you went to Hallwood. And had you ever managed an artist before going into Hallwood? And what was that like? Well, you said it was a learning curve. Like, what specifically was that like for you?
I wouldn't say it was a learning curve. It was more so something I just didn't want to do. Because being a manager is hard. It is nowhere near easy. You have someone's life in your hands. You eat what you kill. Meaning, if they don't get placements, if they don't get a song, they don't get anything, you're not getting anything. You're not eating. So it was just something that I was just like, I don't want to do it. But it ended up working out because, one, I've learned a completely different aspect of how to negotiate deals for my client, to understand these deals and everything else. And then two, it helped because it made me have empathy to understand what the writers and producers were really, really going through. Like, writers get it the worst. Not even producers, the writers have it worse. So I wouldn't say it's a learning curve. It was just more so something that I was like, I don't want to do this. But I worked for a management company, so I had a steady check. So that actually ended up helping out, and the reason why I kind of did it versus doing management by myself. If you're doing it by yourself, it is 100 times harder.
So what did you have a say in what clients you had to take on? Like, if you did, how did you decide which clients to take on?
You said you worked for a management company, so did they also have like a say in what clients you were working with?
No. So the way that it typically works is you bring in who you have, and then you start bringing clients on your own that you're going to work off of. They don't have a say unless they have someone that they sign, like unless it's like a partner that has someone and they're like, I need you to handle this for me. And I did that for a person or two, which was fine by me because if the higher up is signing them or got them a big deal or sold their catalog, clearly they're a big deal, so why wouldn't I want to manage them? So I ended up managing a few people because of that.
And what draws you to specific talent? Like a lot of people, especially in our department, as you know, are musicians. And what do they have to look out for to get someone's attention like you?
So more so just being different, right? Like no one wants to hear that's Kendrick. We don't want to hear another record that sounds like Kendrick. We have Kendrick. So we want to hear something different. What do you bring? When T-Pain came out, the world went crazy because he was so different. What is this sound? Never heard this before. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's something that we never heard and never thought to hear, so this is great. So it's just being different. Also, like, I sign things based on how I vibe with them. Like, I always tell people when I have meetings, because for people that I potentially want to sign, me, Warner Chappell, everyone else, you know, Sony, ATV, we do the same things. We set up your sessions, we give you a check, we do all that. It's not about that. It's about the relationship that you have with your publisher. It's the relationship that you have with your A&R. How do you guys vibe? Are they setting up sessions with you? Even before you sign, how were they setting anything up with you? So, and then I also learned, like, okay, I'm gonna put him in this room because I wanna see how he works. I wanna see what his turnaround is. I wanna know what the feedback is from other people in that room about this person. Is he a workhorse? Is he picky with who he wants to work with? So it just comes, all these things come into detail for me as a publisher. Even when signing a person that wants to be an artist and a writer, okay, are you writing just for self or are you writing for other people? Are you versatile or do you stick to one box? And it's okay if you want to stick to one box, you know what your strength is. Or if you want to be versatile, let's figure out how to put you in every single one of these sessions. So that's great too. But like when you're sending things off to people, never send something that you have to download because no one wants to download. I'm not downloading anything to listen to your music as a favor. I'm just not doing it. So if you want to send me a link where I can click and press play, completely fine. But what you should also do is if you're a versatile person and you do rap, you do pop, you do country, you do whatever, send separate folders with those separate things and don't go overboard with the songs that you're sending. I don't want to listen to 20 songs. I'm not doing it. Give me your top 5 of each one and that's it. Or not even 5, give me your top 3 because I don't have the time to go through all 20 of these to find a diamond in the rough. So if you're sending music out, I would suggest separate it by the genres and send 3 to 4 of the best things that you think you have for each genre. And don't do it as a downloadable link. I don't want to download shit. My computer is bogged up with music.
So as your role now as an A&R, there's so many ways you can be A&R, there's so many different styles that you can operate as a day-to-day. You can be in the studio with the artists and be like almost like their kind of like their guiding hand, but you can also be one of those A&Rs who just like listens to songs, gets them signed, and that's as far as they get in terms of their relationship with the artist. So in terms of that range, what style do you personally fit into that?
Well, so if a person signs and is hands off with you, that's not a real A&R. They're just signing you for the market share. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. If they're hands on, then they're your true A&R. But if they're not a part of your anything else, they just want the market share, like the 5% that you have of this big song to make their company look good. But for me personally, I'm not going to be in the studio just because of my age, and I'm just not going to be there because I don't want to be in a room full of smoke and drinks and everything else all day. Yeah, I'm just not doing it. I might pop in, make sure everything is good. You guys meet me, give me a buzz. But on top of it, I'm not going to be in there and tell you what you need to do. Hey, you should actually add this. You might want to do that. I'm not doing that. That's what your job is. I want you to be super creative and allow you to be creative. Now, when I hear the song back, when I get the bounce, I will listen to it and give you notes. Like, hey, this shit is flat. You need to work on this part. Or this might need a bridge or whatever. Then I'll give you notes. But in the studio, in the session, I'm not giving notes. I'm not doing any of that because I want them to be creatively free as possible. That's what they're there for. So I'm not that A&R either to chime in. I don't stay in sessions at all, but I have a younger A&R that does, and I'll just, if I need someone there, I'll call him and he shows up. So I'm very hands-off, but I'm very hands-on with putting sessions together. Like, very hands-on. I put sessions together literally every single day. So.
I was like, I kind of identify with that role. I really do like the matchmaking process of just putting people in the same room and seeing what they can come out of in terms of like a project or whatever collaboration in it. So I just really appreciate that, like, that's what you like to do and you're very hands-on with it, and I'd love to keep talking to you about it.
And as an A&R, personally for you, what genre do you gravitate the most? And is that also the genre you work with on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's R&B and hip hop, which is my thing, but pop just means popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so funny how people are like, it's the pop department. I'm like, that's cute. But SZA was #1 10 weeks, and that's not pop music, that's R&B. So it literally means popular. The Weeknd, R&B, Ariana Grande, R&B. You know, so it literally just means what's popular in that moment. Unless you're talking bubblegum pop, then that's different, and that's very like, okay, I know what it is that we're talking about right now. But again, pop just means popular in that moment. So, you know, hip hop and R&B, but I can cross over into pop.
So can anyone be an A&R? How hard can it be?
Anyone cannot be an A&R.
Okay, so what does it take?
Anyone could be an A&R, a lot of people be A&Rs, they're not. And I honestly think it is just now becoming like a very popular thing where everyone wants to do it, and it's like a thing. And it's really an art. And the reason why it's an art is because you have to, again, sorry, my daughter thinks she's the star of the show, every show that we're in. She's gonna make it. Yeah, she's definitely the main character everywhere I go. But no, you have to know how to, like, again, a lot of it is psychology. A lot of this is psychology. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to cut through without cutting. You know, you have to make sure you manage personalities the way that they need to be managed. Everyone's personality is different. So you have to understand that and understand how to adjust to that personality. Understand when to talk and when not to talk. I literally was just talking to Joe about it outside. Like, some people talk themselves out of deals all the time. So it's knowing how to read the room, which is also a lost art. But also, like, knowing how to communicate with people. And I've seen that a lot of these interns just don't know how to fucking talk. And I'm just like, you don't know how to keep a conversation going. And the majority of the time when people sign with you, they're signing with you, not the company. They're signing because of the person that is at that company in the moment. A lot of people have signed to me because of me, not because of I work at Universal, because I work at ASCAP. I'm signing with this company because of you. So you kind of just have to be a great people person and manage the personality correctly, and again, be a good matchmaker, because you have to match the people up that makes sense, and also for the goal of the style of music that you want. Like, if I know I want to put something that's like pop urban, but also have a little dance to it, oh, I'm gonna get this writer with that writer because that mix has never happened and that shit could be great. So it's knowing and understanding your roster as well. So no, everyone cannot be an A&R. It's not as easy as you, and a lot of people just don't have the ears. Like, you think you like some shit and it's like, this is not good.
I was gonna touch on that because whenever, especially us as graduating seniors, when we look up like any jobs for a record label, A&R is not on there because everybody wants to be applying for those. And like you said, not everybody can be an A&R.
Yeah, it's really a hard job.
And what are some of those things? Like, what are some of those things that are hardest for you that you find in being an A&R manager? Is it like matching the people?
No, that's the easy part.
Is it giving input on a client's song?
Easy part. The hardest part is finding great talent. It's not too many good, talented people out there. It's so many producers, not enough writers. I need more writers and producers than anything. But finding the talent is the hardest part. Also, having a good network, right? So my job consists of not only setting up sessions, but what am I going to do after that session with that song? I just put this great session together, but now I need to pitch it out to the world. I need to pitch it to this artist. I need to pitch it to the label. I need to pitch it to the manager. So you have to have good skills at doing that. The majority of the time, even meetings, I take so many meetings every single day that I have to literally put something in my calendar to stop doing meetings and start answering emails or doing the creative side too. But with the meetings, it's cool to have them, but what is the goal of this meeting? What are we trying to get out of it? And then executing that too. People's follow-through rate is trash most of the time. But if you have amazing follow-through rate and you say that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do, people remember that. So to me, that's the hardest part that I feel like a lot of people don't do either. They just wanna do the fun stuff. I'm at a concert, I'm in the studio, but it's the work behind the scenes that no one knows about that is not getting done, and people remember like, that person doesn't do what they say they're gonna do. So to me, that's, everything else is easy. It's more so like finding the time to compartmentalize and do all the other stuff that's not fun.
At your most, like what's the range of clients that you work with simultaneously?
Right now I'm working a lot with Doechii. I work with Cardo Got Wings. I work with Nicki Minaj. I work with Future. I work with ATL Jacob, Hit Boy, Metro Lumen, Kirby, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. The list goes on and on. Jeff Basker, her, who's a client of mine that I've been with, or she's been with me since my BET days. Miguel, the roster goes on and on and on. So, and then I have small writers that are phenomenal, just as phenomenal, and trying to make sure I put them up and put them higher. Baby Keem, Kendrick, like those are part of my roster too. Bridgeway, who is a producer for Keem, that I'm trying to make sure, you know, gets in a lot of sessions and do a lot of things too. So it's not even about, for me, the way I started was more people on the come up. So the big names are cool. I like the small names. And the reason why I like the small names is because I like to be a part of people blowing up. Just like the Kendrick, just like the Her, just like the J. Cole. I was there with them before they were big. So that's why I love being a part of people's journeys when they're small, because I was a part, and I heard the talent and I could help get you to where you want to be. So again, the big names are cool, but the small ones are my babies that I kind of love to guide and push them in the right direction. Because all they need is that one song. Once you get one song that goes crazy, people are going to be following you and asking you for shit. So.
Yeah, do you find it difficult to like balance like the roster sometimes? Like,
yeah, it can be, but I feel like the opportunities present itself at the right time, and then again, just knowing how to manage your time. Time management is a big thing. Learning to compartmentalize certain things, knowing how to respond to people. So yeah, it's a juggle, but again, if someone's coming in from out of town, which they do all the time, people from the UK come in, they're like, hey, I'm coming in. My client works a lot with Central C. He helped his song go #1 in the UK. I want to get him in some sessions. Cool. Let me get some of my baby producers that I'm trying to get to blow up and put them in sessions with your guy, because it's going to help my guy too. And you're going to look good, and your guy's going to be happy. So at that moment with that situation, I'm working on that. So when opportunities present itself, you just kind of just have to do it as they come, and then also try to find opportunities for your clients. So it's just, you kind of just got to have things in rotation and just look at who you haven't serviced at the moment, who needs a little more love right now, who was the last conversation I had with this person. Okay, let me go back and now talk to the other A&Rs at the labels. Now let me go back and talk to the people at Paramount and Nickelodeon and see what kind of sync opportunities I can get them. Oh, let me go talk to Fender because I know my client wanted a guitar. So it's honestly connecting dots and keeping in touch with not only your roster. Roster is the minimum. I need to stay in touch with the A&Rs, with the brands, with Spotify and Tidal and Apple people as well. Like, it's just so many people that you have to keep in contact with and also service outside of your roster. So honestly, it's just being in rotation and being on all the time. To the point where, like, my best friend sometimes has to tell me, like, do you not work? Do you ever stop? And I'm like, no, it's always something to do, but I know to stop now for myself and for my daughter. So.
And then going back to your work as an A&R, how long do you listen to a track before making a decision on it?
Sorry, let's start with, like, do you listen to the whole track?
I listen to the whole song. I will not. But if it's like interesting, I listen to at least the hook and the chorus. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it that.
But if it starts off really bad, I'm not giving it more than 30 seconds. I'm like, no. But if it's like interesting and it catches me a little bit, I'll let it play through to the hook. And if I really like it, I'll play the whole song through. And over and over again. My daughter probably cannot stand me sometimes because she's like, we heard this. Can we listen to Sing 2? Yes, here you go. Let's watch a movie.
So you currently sit as Vice President of A&R at UMPG. And how is being an A&R at a publishing company different from being an A&R at, like, let's say, a label?
So being an A&R at a label, you're servicing your clients, which are the artists. At a publishing company, I'm servicing the writers, producers, and the artists that are all at this company. Labels are working within timelines because this artist has something rolling out this year, this artist has something rolling out this year, this artist has something rolling out this year. So they're working in increments, or some of them are working on 2, 3 at the same time. So they're focused on them. So they also have to know who the writers and producers are as well. Then they also have to focus on, they meaning the A&Rs at the label, clearing songs, making sure the credits are done correctly, making sure that everyone is getting paid. Like they make sure all of those things. And making sure the album comes out on time. And then making sure it performs the way that they want it to perform. So they're internally selling their project to their marketing team, to their radio team, to their PR team. They're doing that on their end. My job is not in cycles. It's literally year round because I can work with anyone. I don't have to work with just one artist or 2 or 3 artists that I'm managing. I'm working with everybody. So if I want to get on that, I don't know, 24 Karat Golden album, I can go and try to figure that out. If I want to go get on someone completely different, like Solange, and get on her album, I can. Beyonce, I can. So I can work with literally everyone, but I'm working throughout the whole year versus in cycles. And then on top of it, the servicing of them, right? Like I'm servicing everyone all the time. They're servicing their clients whenever they have projects coming out. So and then on top of it, my job is more of a seller's job. Theirs is a buyer's job because I have to have all these songs for the sessions I put together and be like, hey, here's a song that I think could work. What direction is Lotto going in? Here's a song that can work. What about this song? This song came from such and such. I think it's phenomenal. And just trying to just big it up for them to pick up those songs. Or also banging on the door trying to get my people in the room with their artists. Whereas on that side, they're listening to the songs and deciding if they want to take it or not. So that's why I say they're more of the buyer than the seller. I'm more of the seller for the A&R side.
Yeah, also just because we're in the age of social media and TikTok, how do you think like the internet influenced you as an A&R?
So that's new for me. Like, it's for real. Like, it was, yes, when I was working at BET, we would find talent that way, 100%. But our stuff was more word of mouth because the internet was like, I wouldn't say it was new, but finding music was new. It wasn't like how all the platforms have this music and all the streaming sites have this music and, you know, where you can find new up and coming such and such song just came out, or this song was playlisted into this because it's familiar. That was all new. My stuff was really word of mouth, and that's how I found people back then. Now, it's literally like, okay, what's trending? Okay, what are people gonna love? Because not only do I have to sign things for passion, but we do have to worry about market share. Market share is a big deal, and it's probably stuff that they don't talk much about, but they do sign things for that because to be a #1 publisher, you have to dominate the market. Meaning, like, if 100 songs came out, you have to have the majority of those songs coming out, at least one writer on every one of those songs to be the #1 publisher. So that's what they're after. That's the name of the game for them. So, I don't know, I'm talking in circles now. I forgot what the question was.
Social media.
Oh, social media. So because of social media, they're chasing things that they know is TikTokable, that they know that is going crazy on Instagram because the young kids are going to listen to it and it's going to raise up streams. So they want to sign those things, but for me, it's just like, I'd rather be passionate, but I understand why they want to do the social media thing too. But I do find talent that way. Like, I found one girl that I'm like, yo, I want to sign her, just on the strength of like, how she sounds, how she performs, how she writes her music, and how she displays it and all that stuff. So yeah, it definitely goes a long way. But again, I don't really have to sign based on social media because, again, since I do more writers and producers, I still want to see how they work. Like, at school, they're TikTokable, but I'm looking for more writers and producers versus artists. So it's a little bit different.
So you did mention that you listen to like their song structure and stuff like that. So what do you look for when signing or like looking for talent?
The storytelling of the songs, the structure, obviously, of it. Again, what I was talking about earlier is like how they work in rooms, how quick their turnaround is for music as well, and then how I vibe with them too. So it's kind of the same thing that I was saying earlier about.
I have like a question, kind of unrelated to the actual like discussion in terms of like A&R. You are, ultimately a woman in music. So what are some adversities that you feel that you faced?
Being a woman of color.
Yeah, especially being a woman of color.
It's music industry is a boys club. Like, it is really a boys club. I find, however, I do find that I get more opportunities from men than I do women, which is crazy because a lot of women are always like, oh, for women, they're trying to help, and they don't. So I've learned that as well. But to be honest with you, I come from a place where you have to, quote unquote, stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. So when some women feel like, oh, I go to a studio and this man hit on me, okay. Did you leave? Did you walk away? What did you tell someone? I've never had that happen to me. And the reason why is because people know who they can and cannot try, right? I'm not going in there with a dress on and shorts on. I'm going in there with the baggiest pants that I have, a big hoodie on, and talking to people very direct and talking and looking at their eyes while I'm talking to them so they know that I mean business. But also, like, I ran into like being in a studio session sitting down, and the men will walk right past me and won't say anything to me because they think she's just someone's girlfriend or someone's whatever in the studio, and I'm like, I'll put this shit together. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, hi, I'm such and such. Yeah, this is my camp. Nice to meet you. So it's just more so knowing how people are going to act. You kind of gotta have to think 3 steps ahead and just be prepared for whatever it is and just know how to handle yourself in any situation that could potentially come, even if it doesn't. But that has been something, opportunities, obviously. And then, it's very cliquey in this industry too. I don't really have a clique. Like, I'm an introverted person in real life, and I kind of tend to stick to myself and just reach out to my contacts all the time that I need to, and just, stay in the air, stay in the groove. I barely even go out, nowadays. I just pop into the events, hey, seeing everybody I need to see, go back in. But I wouldn't recommend that to the younger, like for you guys, go to every event that you can go to. Network with everyone, and network with everyone on your level that want to come up in the industry, because you just never know. And you guys all want to come up at the same time. So don't do what I do. Be, out there, go to more events. I'm not like that anymore, at least anymore.
Go to house shows. Every one of you, even if you're not 21, you can find a way to sneak in. I'm not saying that, but like, you can do it.
Well, I wouldn't even say go to house shows. It's more so like go to the events that are very music industry driven, right? Like ASCAP does this thing every year where they do a conference in LA. And it's a lot of writers, producers, A&Rs, sync people, everything else that are there and teaching and learning and giving opportunities. Go there. And when you go there, don't only try to meet the people on the panel, meet the people that are there at the panel. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are in class together, so I can't say this to you, but I would say, talk to each other. All y'all clearly want to do music and be in the industry, figure out how to work together and get there at the same time. Like, you want to be a producer, you want to be an artist, okay, let's go make a song together. You want to be an A&R, help me get some writers in the room. You want to, you know what I mean? Like, figure out what it is that you want to do and work with each other. That's the best way to do it. Because once one person goes up, you can pull the person with you, and they can help be a part of your journey, and you know that they were there for you from the beginning versus like, oh, I knew him when we were in college, but you really never talked to him. You know what I mean? So talk to each other and just figure out how to work together.
think that was a great closer, but yeah.
I didn't even know I was closing. Look at that.
Yeah, right on the dot. All right, can we get a round of applause here?
Yeah, so hopefully you guys saved some questions for Cristina, because we're going to open up the Q&A.
Yes.
I'll go ahead.
When you're talking about talent earlier, I've been told that like the actual talented portion or like the music portion is like about 10% of the total package that you look for in A&R. How much is the actual talent, the songwriting, storytelling, and all of that matters? But since we live in an age where we monetize everything and we throw so much money into a project, how important are the other factors aside from the actual talent?
Are you saying as an artist or as a writer?
As an
As an artist.
It's trying to find somebody and you know things in terms of social media, terms of their basically social media, how they present themselves, their drive, like how much so does intangibles matter like for certain work?
Gotcha. So, okay. Let's use you as an example, right? And just say you're an artist. I'm assuming you're an artist or you want to be an artist, right? Not you. You said not you? Management. Okay. You're in college right now, though. Utilize now as a tool, meaning it's hella parties that go on at Chico State, and I know it does.
Period.
Try to get your artist on every fucking stage in this town that you can. Have the people around you post as much as they can about this artist. Have them stream as much as they can. Have them pull up to your parties and listen to your artists, your multiple artists, if you have more than one, and do a showcase for your artists where they're listening to it. Then go to Davis and do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to work the college towns because the college is where the start is. Kendrick started because he was going to all these college towns, and that's how he blew up. So as a manager, yeah, you have the product, which is the music. Yeah, you have the talent, which is the artist. But now you need to put them out there. You don't have money, the best way to like push your people out there is utilize your friends. Can you repost this? Can you repost this? Can you repost this? Can you repost this? We need to have more people seeing this and putting this out there in music and listening to it. You know what I mean? Again, hustle and put your person on every single stage that you can in this school. And once you dominated this school, go dominate the next. And that's the best advice I could give as far as like you managing your artists right now. Gotcha.
Let's go.
Wait, so you don't have artists yet? You want to know how to find an artist?
No, I do, but I'm also doing like an internship for a we do a reverberation campaign where we're looking at artists and some of their music. And so I'm also doing that. So that's all kind of look for aside from the musical aspect.
Passion of it. You gotta have passion. You can't sell anything that you're not sold on. Go ahead.
You said it's very important in this industry to be different and to be unique. When you're interning, would you say it's more important to like be unique and to like show your own voice, or more important to just kind of follow like what's going on, just kind of work and like put your head down and work?
Both. So you have to understand the company that you're working at. Every company, it's called company. What's the word I'm looking for? But every company has a different like tone and how they work. So you have to first understand the tone. So I would always advise like when you go there, learn to read the company the first few weeks, 2-3 weeks. Like, okay, I understand how they work. I understand how they act when someone talks out of turn. I understand how they act when people act too crazy. I understand X, Y, Z. And then once you understand that, know when you can and know when you can't. Meaning, like I said, don't talk yourself out of deals. Don't talk yourself out of a job by being like, this guy's being a little too, you know what I mean? Like, you want to still understand company culture. You want to understand the company culture, but still be unique. Where you are talking to someone and understanding how they work while also, again, providing a service to them. Like, hey, this is a new talent. I don't know if you were looking for them, but here you go.
So you were talking about how you have like interns that might not necessarily know how to communicate. How would you like talk to that intern and basically tell them like, hey, you don't know how to communicate without like what you said, cutting teeth? I'm
not gonna have that conversation with them because I'm not HR, but I probably won't work with them. I'll probably just be like, yeah, you kind of gotta go that way. Unless it's them asking me directly, and then I'm very forward and I can help them because they are seeking the help. But what I've learned is a lot of people don't want that help, and then they take you trying to help as you trying to be condescending. So you kind of just, again, understand who it is that you're dealing with. Now, if it's someone that I feel like they're young, they're talented, and I can help guide them, then maybe I might go the extra mile and be like, look, let me talk to you for a second, and put my arm around them and talk to them in a way that helps them, again, knowing your audience, knowing the type of person and how they can handle certain things. But if it's someone that I'm not passionate about, and they're horrible, or I know if I'm gonna say something soon, they're gonna go to HR, I'm not even gonna speak to them, I'm gonna walk away. But if you're passionate about someone and you do want to talk to them, guide them and pull them to the side and be like, look, preface it. I want to have this conversation with you. I'm not trying to come off in any rude way. I just want to try to help guide you if you're open to the guidance. If you're not, cool, but I want to help. Go ahead.
What advice would you give to someone who's trying to start up being a writer?
Keep writing. Keep writing, keep writing. Work with a lot of these producers and stuff that want to be producers. Try to get in as much of them as you can. You will be surprised the songs that some people choose that they never would have imagined was going to be the hit. Like this song, I wrote this back when I was 20 and I was going through whatever I was going through, and that's the song that they want. But the best way to be a better writer is just to keep fucking writing. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if a part of your job is to look at, artists on like TV shows like The Voice or like American Idol. Like, what are your thoughts on like upcoming artists who are on that show?
I generally don't look at that, but there have been obviously cases where people do become great artists that come out of that. Now, if it's someone that is undeniable, then of course I'm gonna try to go after them. But the reason why for me is like I'm not probably gonna chase is because they're already in front of the world. You know what I mean? Like everyone's gonna go after them and stuff. But if it's undeniable, then I'm gonna take a shot at it too. Like I'm gonna still try. But yeah, and more than likely it's because someone in the industry has already heard them. That's why they're on that stage. Yeah. Go ahead.
So you stated that you're kind of like introverted. Was that a skill you learned to be more extroverted and talk to other people and kind of communicate?
For sure. My mom was a talker, so I would just sit back and just listen to her talk to everybody every day, and I was like, Mom, you're talking to a stranger, let's go. And pull her, and then I became that person, and it was so weird. But in real life, I'm in my head all the time. I'm a very quiet person. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever encountered a talent that you think would be very popular in the current music industry meta, but due to rapid changing paths, you're uncertain if they'll have long-term success, and how would you deal with artists like that?
Everything's a gamble. There's no guarantee in any of that. You can say that they're great for now, and that's cool, but why do you want to work with someone that's great for now? Don't you want to work with someone that's going to be great forever?
Yeah, I was thinking in kind of terms of your market share question, where they're going to be great now as you sign them, but they could completely fall off in a year.
Yeah, but the win for the company is we got that market share that year. They were dominating the charts that year. They were everywhere that year, the next 2 years, and then they end up falling off. It's a lot of people that do that. Think about all the talent that has done that. Yeah, with someone in the back over here. Okay.
What did you do during your time in school that made people want to call you for jobs after you graduated?
It wasn't at school, it was the internships that I had. So during the internships, I just built relationships and talked to everyone. So when I intern, that's a trick for you guys too. When you intern for one department, you need to talk to every department because you want to make friends with everybody in there. Because if that person doesn't want to hire you where you were working, somewhere else in that building, someone might want to hire you because they understand your personality and they're like, she helped me, she didn't have to, but I'm just gonna pull her in because she helped.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I'm actually a public relations major. So when you're talking about all those events that you did with ET and South by Southwest, I want to be the person behind the scenes planning it and doing the actual marketing for it. So where should I be applying? Where should I be looking?
You want to plan the event
Or,
Like the
so you,
event side of things.
you wanna do production then, not publishing, you wanna be on the production side. So I would apply for production gigs. So just go to live events and look at production. It's a job in itself that is really paid well, and you really are the person doing the majority of the work, to be honest with you. So I would definitely apply for that ASAP. Did I call you already? Wait, next then. You.
To start working, how do you make sure that you get into the job that you prefer and that you think you will do a better job?
Going to a company that has the job, like Big Machine, right? Big Machine is a publishing company that does more of a genre that I'm not into, but I know that it's a genre that, you know, it's for rock and pop and everything else. I would go to that company because that's the genre I want to be in. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was looking at Universal has a lot of metal bands on their projects and then also hip hop. When joining a company like that, how do you make sure that you are put in the right spot?
There's no making sure you're put in the right spot. Like when, for instance, when they are hiring you or interning or talking to you for an internship, they're gonna ask you where you wanna be, and then you'll be in that thing. But as far as like Universal in itself, okay, I'm going left, never mind. But you'll be in the place that you're supposed to be because that's what you're passionate about. They're not gonna throw you in a genre that you have no passion, then that you're not of service to them. They don't want you there.
And are certain music genres like hyper competitive versus others when it comes to finding A&Rs and stuff like that?
The whole thing is competitive. Literally. A&R, the word is competitive. Yeah, it was someone, I feel like back here, but I want to go ahead.
So when looking for like a specific artist or just in general person to approach, do you like look for someone who's more hyper focused on something, or say more multifaceted, like they can write and produce like neurons? Like laser focused on.
Honestly, I don't mind either one, just because like if you're laser focused, I mean that means you're amazing at it. If you can do all of it, that means you're good. But are you great at all of them? You know, some people spread themselves very thin and they can barely finish a song as a producer. They can barely finish a song as a writer. They can barely, you know what I mean? So like, if you're gonna be multifaceted, cool, but just be great at all of the shit that you can do. So I would say perfect one thing at a time first, if you want to do all of them. Yeah. The girl in the back with the braids, what you want?
Okay.
Yeah. That's my best friend, you guys, so.
It would be useful to tell them the story about how, when you first got to BET, how you had certain interns staying with you to help them improve they are now. Not me, but you know.
So yeah, I had a few interns while at BET, and the interns that were great are great now. And they all took my advice. They all took my critical way of speaking to them. Like one person, I'm not gonna say her name, but she would just be like, hey, I don't understand such and such for this event. How are they gonna be a part of this event? I just don't get it. Google works. If you have not tried every single thing to find the answer before coming to me, you're not doing a good job. I should be your last resource to answer any question in your internship. If you don't know, if I ask you to go pay this PO, why are you coming to me about a PO order? I don't know nothing about it. Go find out. Go ask a fellow intern. Go talk to someone in that department. Go do this, go do that. Nonetheless, she now is over at Rock Nation, one of the best people over there, and she lived with me. We lived together for many, many years, and she basically runs shit in the marketing department over there. And then it's another one who was my intern who was a pain in the ass too. And he too, I would talk to him crazy, but he took it the right way because it was out of love. And now he's like running shit in the production side of Spotify. He does live events over there. So, you know, like when you have someone that you're interning for, they take a special light to you, you know, go towards that and take all the advice that you can, even if it's something that hurts you, but understand it's coming from a good place. So now they are fucking great.
What about the people you interned with?
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, my best friend. She just want me to talk about her. Oh.
You got Kiana, you got Zenova, networking the problem.
Oh, yeah, that's true. A lot of the people, I wouldn't say a lot because it's not too many interns that have really succeeded, but the ones that have and that are still like really good friends of mine, one is a publicist at Warner now. She was a publicist for, oh want to say Universal, so she did a lot of Universal stuff. My homegirl's Nova, she is the GM of YG's label. And she also does like Lady London and a few other people who she manages and brands. And she did marketing for Usain Bolt when his album went #1 for reggae in Jamaica and stuff like that. So like, and then my other homegirl, Sharice, who runs production for LeBron James's what is it called? Spring Hill company as well. So like, just networking, again, the networking across is the point she's trying to prove. Like, you just don't know where your friends are gonna go. So just stay, be nice and stay cool with them and try to help as much as we can. I pull my friends in everything. Oh, you do PR? Help me with this project. Oh, you do such and such? Help me with this project. You do marketing? Help me with this project. All of us work together and we make money together. So, and my best friend, she does television. So if you watch the new Hulu Spotify thing with Coyle Ray, John Carlo, and everything else, she did all that shit. She's back there. Go ahead.
What would you give someone advice who's trying to become like an artist manager field?
The artist manager field? Good luck. No, it's a really, really hard job. And if you're gonna do it, I would say start young. And the reason why I say start young is because you're okay with sleeping on the buses. You're okay, the couches. You're okay with missing meals. You're okay with being in the studio all night. You're okay with like eating a slice of pizza a day. You know what I mean? Like, you're okay with living in the grit of the moment. So I say if you're gonna do it, do that shit now. Because the older you get, the harder it becomes. So I would say that, and then also network. Be at every single networking event that you can possibly go to. And to be honest with you, after you graduate Chico, you all need to go to LA. Yeah. Like, you're not gonna do music industry in Chico. You're just not. It's not gonna happen. All right, we'll see if somebody else wants to come back if you don't. Go ahead.
Are there any other names that you work with?
No. The reason why I'm saying no is because I don't want my competitors to hear about what I need to be working on and what I'm going after. So we try not to talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, we try to keep it real quiet. And again, one of my best friends who I worked with at BET Music Matters, Omar Grant, he became my competitor when I was at ASCAP. He was at BMI, and now I'm at Universal and he's at Sony. So we just gotta be. And he's one of my best friends, and I can't even talk to him about people that I love to listen to because he can still watch it. So yeah. Any last questions? I'm gonna come to you. Go ahead.
What's the most obscure genre that you've worked with and really, and it's really gone big?
I wouldn't say obscure. I would just say like what's big, and you guys probably don't know about it yet, but it's going to be coming out here soon, is Amapiano, which is like big in the UK and stuff right now. It's going to come out here and go crazy. The Latin world is going to blow, I mean it's blowing up already in front of everyone's faces, but it's going to go even crazier really, really soon. But I would say more so, and then Caribbean stuff too, like Tim's killed shit, the Afro stuff as well. But I wouldn't say it was nothing that was really obscure. It was things that, for me, culturally, I already heard, but the main culture probably just wasn't aware of it yet. So yeah. But Amapiano is something that I didn't know about until recently.
So what advice would you give someone who's looking for their first internship?
So, apply to everything. Even if it's something that you don't want to do, just apply because you want to get your foot in the door. And once your foot is in that door, you can start talking to everyone there. So like, some people don't want to do sync, some people don't want to do licensing, but you're in the door. So then you can start walking to every other department in there and you're just like, this is what I really want to do. How can I do it? And that's what I did. When I did PR for BET, I told the president himself, I don't want to be in PR, I want to do music. And he was like, okay, we'll talk to this person. And that's how I got the job. So apply to everything, and once you're in that door, network. Try to do every event that they have. Go ahead.
So I don't know. I think Universal also has relationships with like overseas artists and stuff like that. So how is like the relationship between the American music industry and like, let's just say like the K-pop industry? Like, how is that relationship, and like, how does that, if someone wants to be a part of like the connection between those two industries, how can someone be a part of that?
We already have that, and it's a very strong connection. So Universal is a universal company. We're everywhere. We're in Sweden, we're in Switzerland, we're in, Puerto Rico, we're in Korea, like we're everywhere. So what we do is we just talk and reach out to one another. So when people come in from the UK, they'll probably hit one. So there's a head of A&R Global, and what they tend to do is hit him, and he'll connect them to who they need to speak to in that job, in that region. Or that person will reach out to us directly because of what genre that they want their K-pop people to be in. Like, hey, I'm in Korea, we know I have Blackpink, and I want them to do more urban stuff. Can you help me figure it out? Yep, I got you. And I'll set up a session.
Oh, okay.
So really it's still just A&R, but sometimes they go directly to the head of A&R university.
Okay.
Like, globally. You and then him, and then we done.
All right, so how do you go about like finding writers and producers to work with? Because I know you said you don't really be on like the social media, TikTok and stuff, and that's where like more of the artists be and stuff, but like the writers and producers are more behind the scenes. So how do you go about finding those people and stuff like that?
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
For me, it's all word of mouth. People will throw people my way, like, did you hear this song? Did you talk to this person? And I also look at all the credits. Like when songs come out that I really love, who's on there? Who wrote that? Oh, okay. Is this person published on there? Let's talk to them. And we talk to the people that aren't published, and even the people that are published. Hey, who are the new writers that you love? I would love to talk to them. Connect me. So it's all word of mouth. Yeah, go ahead. He's the last one, y'all. I know y'all gotta go. Y'all hungry.
Since it's the last one, I'm gonna give you a two-parter.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
How do you feel like the internet and streaming will change the music industry by the time we're in your position? And what is the biggest piece of advice you could give us for managing that?
How it's going to change streaming. Honestly, we are consuming music so fast now, we're not even digesting the stuff that comes out. Like, an album comes out and then we're done with it and we want to go, hi y'all, that's my mom, my aunt, my cousin, and my niece. Well, my other second cousin. Hey y'all. We're closing up, but they made it. Honestly, I don't know how to answer that question because I have no clue. But the person who kind of started this shit, who I love to death, Steve Jobs, and he's kind of the reason why streaming is really a thing and how music is so easily accessible and stuff. And he was very much so ahead of the curve and ahead of everything. I'm not there, I'm not that person. I'm focused on today and right now on how to focus on my roster. So I can't give you really a good answer to that because I don't know where we'll be or how it's going to be years from now. I just know we're consuming music too quickly and we're not appreciating the music that we do have. Yeah. But I know we need to change how people are getting paid out as far as writers and producers are concerned because the writers are getting paid the least out of all of them. So yeah. Y'all done?
All right. Oh, we got food in the next room?
You got it. Come on, you got to go. Last one.
So you mentioned how working with people in PR and also having that experience helping develop communication techniques, pitching ideas. I wanted to know if you also had experience working with graphic designers and what advice you have for us getting our foot in the door into helping with campaigns, marketing assets, and things like that.
So I personally have not, but I do know that you guys are very much so needed because they need visuals for everything. Like even if it's a visualizer, you know what I mean? Like they need visualizers. They need visuals for like songs that go on YouTube that don't have real videos and stuff out. They need it for the art. So you guys are very much so needed, but it's in the marketing department. So you need to talk to more of the marketing side of things and even just reach out to them or even intern with them because sometimes the majority of marketing outsources. So if you start being that person that they outsource to and give them options, or even for example, right, what I would do if I was in your shoes is go to a label, look at their roster and try to figure out a flyer or try to figure out an album cover for whatever person is on that person's roster and send 3 ideas. Hey, I know I'm not there yet. I know I don't do this, do that, but what do you think about these 3? I think they would be fly. And send it to every single label and someone will pick you up. I promise you that, but you just gotta be real diligent and continue to do it because even if they don't hire you
for that department, they'll outsource you and be like, can we just pay you for this? Can we just pay you for that? But you kind of got to be creative on how you give them things. And by giving them things and being of service before they ask for it, there you go. And if it works, I need my 25%. I'm just kidding.
Well, Cristina, thank you so much for taking the time and being with us here. I think on behalf of every Chico State student here, we can honestly say we're rooting for you. We're incredibly honored to be able to call you like a fellow Chico State alum.
Thank you.
We do look up to you.
We really do. Yeah, thank you so much again, and thank you everyone for coming out. If we can get another round of applause for Cristina.
Very happy to be here. And you guys, Paul, you guys don't know. If you guys don't know Paul, you better go talk to him, because let me tell you, he is a good man. I reached out to him not that long ago looking for interns, and he was like, when they're ready, I'm going to send them to you. We've been in communication since, and we're going to figure some stuff out, but I definitely want to try to help you guys get internships a little more. That's the reason why I even reached back out to try to figure out you guys getting there, because they reach out to a lot of USC and UCLA people, but I feel like they don't reach out to you guys at all. And I'm like, CSUs need some love too. Okay, I know we're a state-funded college, but we need some love, so that's why I reached out. And y'all better talk to Joe too, because he was my teacher when I was here, and he helped out so much, and he was so sweet, and that's the man right there, so talk to him too.
We're gonna have catering next door, band room 132, but if you guys want, and if it's okay with Cristina, I wanna get like a group picture of everyone here. And everyone who wants to get like a quick picture really quickly, like with